Well, hi everyone, this is Daniel Williams, Senior Editor at MGMA, and we're back for another MGMA Member Spotlight podcast. We're here today with Tulika Vohra. Tulika is with University Physicians Associates in Knoxville, Tennessee. Tulika, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we have talked several times over the years. We keep bumping into each other at events and other places, and it's so good to get to meet you in person.
Thank you very much. I'm so honored that you asked me to be part of this.
Yeah, so with Member Spotlight, we really like to get to know the MGMA members. We like to know a little bit about their journey in healthcare and also their relationship with MGMA. So let's start with that first. Tell us about what got you into healthcare in the first place.
So in my past life, I was a real estate agent in Morgantown, West Virginia.
That's so cool.
And I used to be a relocation specialist where I worked with WVU and used to take providers who were moving into town. And I just found that really fascinating.
Yeah.
And I loved working with their HR team, and I just wanted to be part of that, of physician recruitment.
Yeah.
And my husband's a doctor, so healthcare has always been part of my life. And then when we moved to Tennessee 12 years ago, it was a good opportunity to step foot into this.
Yeah.
And that's when I started working in healthcare.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our paths are tangentially related. I was telling you offline that I've been in the media for a couple of decades, and in one of those stops, I covered real estate. So that was what I wrote about. And I was living in Los Angeles during the housing bubble. So it was a lot of interesting things going on, some not so great, but it was a really interesting time to cover that. So I feel your challenges, because it's a big leap from real estate to healthcare.
That's correct.
What was that like, and when did you step into a healthcare role?
So 2013 is when I started working for Covenant. And I started actually in the HR. And then I went and got my SHRM certification. And then I went back to University of Tennessee and got my master's in management and HR. And meanwhile, all this time I was still working in the healthcare, and then slowly just got pushed into medical management. And came to know about MGMA. And then I was like, I have to get this done. You know, that was the only way for me to rise up the ladder. Because I didn't have the years of experience behind me. So the only way I thought at that time was applicable was to get knowledge. And MGMA provided that platform for me.
Okay. So I have to ask, what are the dinner table conversations like? Do y'all say, no, we can't talk healthcare once we get home because we live it? Or do y'all share everything that's going on and really those experiences once you get home as well?
It's healthcare all the way, from both sides of the table, because I have a provider that I'm married to for almost 33 years. And then I'm on the administration side now. So we have interesting conversations.
I'm sure you do, because sometimes I hear there's some antagonistic situations.
Absolutely.
Who wins those arguments, or do y'all just have a truce and we're just sharing our thoughts here?
I always take the trophy there. I do.
I love it. That is so good. So talk about your practice a little bit. When you and I met and we were talking offline, we were talking about where you are. You're located in Knoxville, Tennessee. So tell us about the practice where you work. So
I just transitioned over to University of Tennessee just over 2 months ago. And prior to this, I was in a multi-specialty group. You know, that's where I really grew as a practice administrator. I was very fortunate to be given that opportunity. Very thankful to the providers that trusted me to lead that practice. That's where I gained most of my certification. You know, about 4 years ago is when I became certified, and never looked back since then. So most of my experience comes from that practice.
You opened the door here. You talked about that certification. So we're talking about the ACMPE. What was that experience like?
It was a lot of studying, but I knew that it would be very valuable for me. Like I said, the only way to rise for me was not through experience. I knew I didn't have time on my side.
Okay.
So getting MGMA ACMPE certification has really helped me understand the domains of the different, practice management. Coming to these conferences really helped because I gained different knowledge. I had some skill gaps that really helped me. MGMA has helped me through them, joining the community, attending your local chapters. So it's been a really valuable resource for my growth.
Okay. Let's back up then. How did you learn about MGMA? When did that relationship begin?
So when I finished my master's in management and HR from University of Tennessee, I wanted to work as an HR professional.
Okay.
And I started working at this cardiology practice where I was hired as an HR director. But then it led to the role of medical practice management. And I first time was introduced to MGMA because there was somebody from another practice who came to evaluate our practice. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know much about practice management, and I just started talking to her, and she was just giving her ACMPE exam at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
So then I started to look more into it. I joined MGMA, and from there on, that's what just led me to get certified.
Yeah. So beyond the ACMPE, what have been some of the other milestones or just memories that you've had in being part of the organization, learning about it, and helping enrich your own career through that?
So I think one of the biggest milestones that I have achieved is going from just entering into the organization to getting into the HR field, from there to getting into medical practice management. Mm-hmm. And now when I transitioned over to University of Tennessee, I was actually director of operations for that other practice. Okay. So all this knowledge has really helped me grow into this field. And I continue to grow. I'm very hungry for knowledge, and I love learning. Okay. And this is my 5th year, with MGMA, and the 4th conference, national conference.
Wow.
And I just love attending this. This is the only one I go to every year, and, it's amazing.
Okay. So we talked about this offline. I'm not sure if you want to answer the question, but what about the fellowship?
Oh, my God. So I'm eligible.
Okay.
About 2+ years ago, I had presented my case and it was accepted.
Okay.
But then I've been lazy.
No, you're busy. There's a lot going on. There's a lot on your plate.
It's definitely on the horizon. Mm-hmm. So last year, I actually got my green belt in lean.
Okay.
From University of Tennessee. So that kind of took a lot of time. Mm-hmm. And I have presented my business case. It was accepted. So my goal is to get my fellowship very soon. Yeah. And every year I see people walking on the stage and I'm like, this next year I'm going to do it. So you never know. Next year it might be.
I have no doubt that you will be there on that stage next year. Last question then. What would you say to other MGMA members who might be listening to this? What can they do to get the most out of their MGMA membership?
I think join the member communities.
Okay.
They are very powerful. I've been part of several communities, online, just sometimes just through billing, for example. Mm-hmm. You have some questions, you put your question out there. There's always some SME out there who's going to respond. Yeah. And I've had people sometimes even take personal interest where they'll email you on the site and say, we can help you. And it could be from choosing a vendor to learning about some topic. It could be anything. And you can join so many communities through MGMA. So I love that resource.
All right. Well, Tulika Vohra, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the MGMA Member Spotlight podcast. And to all our listeners, we'll provide additional resources and sources on the episode show notes. So until then, thank you for being an MGMA podcast listener.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.